So I am here with Terri Kennedy, the owner of Ipso Facto.
Hello.
And tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, let's see. I opened the store in '89. Before that, I worked in retail and the banking industry, and also in wholesale in the garment district in LA in the '80s. And then I decided I want to open my own store. I had been to fashion design school at FIDM, and so that my whole life I've really enjoyed fashion, also anthropology and writing and things like that. So I thought it would be, I've been working in the fashion industry and I wanted to open my own store. My plan was to design my own items. I do accessories and clothing and sell it and augment it with brands that I like. And the focus was a lifestyle store for Gothic, punk, and alternative fashion. And so I started it in 1989. Started in October, and so it's now 2017, so it's been going all that time. I brought in a friend who I was dating at the time who kind of invested in my business. His name is Bob Medeiros. So I should say he helped me a lot in the beginning. I haven't seen him for like a year, but he was my partner at that time for a good number of years. And so we started out with the store sort of segmented with an art gallery, and that gallery had performance. It was a performance space, and we had poetry readings, bands, and like that kind of thing in the evenings, like once or twice a month. And the art shows changed every month, every other month. A lot of group shows, a lot of focus on like alternative art. And we also, later on, we did body piercing. We were the first studio in North Orange County that did piercing back in the early 90s. And we eventually, the clothing kind of overtook the whole store.
Yeah.
So, piercing got really popular, and it was like everybody down the street and next door were doing it. So we were like, well, let's try, I always want to try new stuff. So we opened up the store and no longer had the gallery, and we did the more clothing, and the shoes was always a big seller for us too, and accessories. And for men and women, that was the important thing, like have equal amounts for men, because men have a really hard time finding cool clothes.
Yes, that's true.
So
it's easier for us, but not for the men.
Yeah, so I was always cognizant of that. And we've had a lot of different new goth-related subcultures come into the popular mindset, including like Lolita, Gothic Lolita, and steampunk, it's kind of an offshoot. The whole love of Victorian clothing, and, cyber, like all that stuff wasn't around when I opened. So that's all developed, and we cater to that too, So rivet heads by the goggles and the respirators and the masks and everything. And we have definitely people that like the vintage look, so we cater to that too. Just a lot of new things have come around, and I always like to carry them. So as far as what I did, I was planning to make a lot of stuff. I still do make some things. There's a veil right here that I just made last week, and right here. And I do make clothing and accessories, other accessories as well, beads, beadwork, and whatnot when I have time. But of course, running a store involves doing, a lot of math, accounting, management, buying. I code the web page and take the pictures for my ads and design the ads that run in the various places. So all that stuff takes a lot of time. And I work in the store. So, it's fortunate that I had some college where I studied business math and other aspects of business. My dad was an accountant, so I have that background, and the fashion design school. But I was also making clothes from the time I was 7. My first project was a cat's wedding dress. And veil.
Oh, I love veils.
Yes,
and I love the veil that you made.
Awesome.
It's beautiful. veils are everything to me.
Yeah, I should show you how to make them. But anyway, so I'm interested in trying new things all the time. So, we have always a lot of new products, like the metal masks that you see, the masquerade masks. That's fairly new and super popular. And like the harnesses, I sold out, but I have more coming.
Harnesses are really popular.
Yeah.
Nowadays. They're not as popular as,
it was more of a fetish thing. Like, we did cater to the fetish crowd, but that's kind of diminished. There aren't as many fetish balls and stuff anymore. And it's harder to find vinyl and latex products.
Now, Ipso Facto is a family-owned store with you and your husband now. No, it's just you?
No, it's just me. Like many women my age, I have been through a couple of husbands. And so the husbands have never been a part of my business.
Oh, okay.
Except maybe once in a while helping count stuff for inventory. No, I mean, you want to get into my whole philosophy, but I don't believe that women should live off men. And I have not produced any progeny. And I think that's important to, for the globe, not to overproduce people. So I think as women, we have a lot of creative things to offer besides childbearing, although I do not criticize those who have chosen to do it. I am, my progeny or my legacy is simply my writing, my music, which we'll get into, and, making stuff that people may have in their possession for a long time. So I think that's important to acknowledge the importance of that. Aside from those who wish to have children, some of us choose to do other things. And I respect all paths. But, there are many women like that who never married or just had careers. I mean, like Coco Chanel. Or, there's people that are famous for, they just, one of my big idols was Anais Nin. Well, she did marry several times and sometimes was married to two men at the same time. She was a writer, and she had a famous series, her autobiography, and I just was really inspired by her view of the world, her complete sensuousness, like everything. I'm into the soft feel of velvet, music, just everything. Like I'm in sensory overload like all the time. So I go to an art show and I feel compelled to go home and make something. I'm just inspired by others' creativities and whatnot. And so that's like all the inspirations. Mae West, Anais Nin, I could go on and on, like independent women.
Anais is the background singer from Sisters of Mercy. Was that the same?
Anais Nin was a writer. She lived until the 60s. She was around in the 20s, and she ran around with early feminists and a circle. In fact, she claims she invented the brassiere.
The brassiere?
Yeah. Now, you ask somebody else, and they'll tell you somebody else did it. But anyway, she came up with an idea and made one. And so, yeah, she was a trendsetter for her era. And so I find that interesting, and I want to do something like that, too. Something that will leave a lasting impression that says, I was here. Because who knows what happens after we die, right? I'm probably saying a lot of controversial things. Don't have kids.
How has the market changed in the goth alternative fashion that you've opened the store throughout since 1989? What do you think is the latest trend at the moment?
Well, I was talking with Jennifer, my friend who's here doing an interview also, and occult prints. Like, there was a time when I couldn't have an occult thing in the window without the cops pounding on my window and telling me to take it out. So now it's like, you can find occult prints in the mall, and people wear them, they don't even know what the symbols mean. Well, I am interested in the occult. I am interested in many beliefs. I think you should be able to pick your own religion and mix and match beliefs and traditions from various sources, which I do. And so I think occult symbols can have power, and they're really fascinating, and they're also all over the clothes. So it's interesting, and I do like it when people stare at you and cross the street, because that's a lot of fun.
It is.
Yeah. So it's hard we're talking about trends, it's really hard to find stuff that does that, So, but I really like the fact that men are starting to wear hats again. And I like corsets. I've always liked corsets. I started making corsets back in the 80s. And now you can get a corset for a reasonable price. A nice steel-bone corset with a lifetime warranty.
Really?
For less than $100. Whereas when we used to carry them initially, it was $400 for a good one. So, I mean, I like the fact that things are less expensive to get, and like it's accessible to most people. But on the other hand, globalization has narrowed our choices. So finding the stuff is hard. Although we do have the internet. And when I started, no internet. We had to go to trade shows. I had to travel to New York. I had to travel to Vegas, all these places. And I also, whenever I was in another city, I travel a lot. I've been to Europe and like different places on the East Coast. I would go in the similar shops and go, take a little notepad. Where did they get this from? And then, I'm sure people do that to me too. But that's how we used to find out stuff. Or people would tell me, hey, I saw this cool brand in a store somewhere in Ohio or something, and I'd find out about it. I wrote a lot of letters.
So word of mouth.
Yeah.
Before it used to be more word of mouth.
Yeah, well, it was just research. I mean, literally, I was going to the the library and looking up things in like yellow pages from other cities and calling the stores and go, would you ever tell me where you get your shoes made? I did that because there was no internet,
Yeah.
So now it's like a lot more easier to get, information about brands, and plus the trade shows are a lot more focused on alternative, whereas they weren't before. A lot of trade shows were really like mainstream stuff. So it's hard finding brands to carry. But I had a lot of connections in LA because I worked in the garment district. I ran a showroom. So, so it's, I guess the things that have changed is it's a lot easier to find out about stuff, but also like stuff that we used to be able to get, you can't get anymore, and no one's making it. And a lot of people or companies have decided it's not profitable to cater to the Gothic thing, and I've noticed it's kind of narrowing. And a lot of companies have gone out of business. So what's changed? Most of my suppliers are not the same ones when I started, And so it's hard to find, a lot of times too, quality. Oh, it's so hard to find good quality. As a seamstress, I know what quality is, and it disturbs me when I see poor quality. So, and also buying on the internet is hard because you can't see it in person. You can't touch it.
Yeah.
So you get a shipment and you're like, oh, what the hell is this, I'm sure people do that of individuals buying from wherever, like there's a certain company that sells online that you order from them and they haven't even made the garment. They steal pictures from other from other sites and then say, we'll make this for you, but then they can't source the fabric. And it comes and like they'll show pictures before and after. And it's like, what? So that's the good thing about owning an actual retail store, which we're an endangered species because all the stores have decided it's cheaper to go online. So why I keep doing it is because people want to come in and try stuff on. They want to feel the fabric. They want to experience it. And maybe there's stuff here that they didn't even know existed. So how can you search for you don't even know about? So it makes it, and also a social center. What's different now is, although I tried to do this from the beginning, like now you have to like dance on the head of a freaking pin to get people to come into a store. So I offer lectures, I offer workshops, I offer, the new tarot business is like another aspect that brings in the pagan community. They may not be necessarily goth, but the pagans, enjoy the cult prints and stuff like that. So what you have to do is a lot harder. It's a lot more, and you have to have more expertise. Now I have to run a website. I have to do marketing and understand how each of the platforms work and what time to send out my email blast and what time to market on Instagram. Like, it's like, boy, I need a bunch of classes to learn more.
Because it's like from different time zones. Everyone is either sleeping
true.
or they're awake.
Yeah. But apparently there's an optimal time when you can do your Instagram, and there's a different optimal time for Facebook, all this stuff. So you have to be a lot more educated.
And savvy, and internet savvier.
And I mean, I was learning computer stuff in like the early 90s. We had no computers in my high school, right? It was the 70s. It was learning all this stuff along the way. I was forced to learn it, and I'm glad I did. But it's it was a learning as you're running on the treadmill, So it's been a really cool adventure though.
Someone told me about Ipso Facto, and I was like, when I was starting in my baby bat years, one of my friends has told me about Ipso Facto, and I was like, oh my god, really? There's like a store? And they're like, yeah, it's right next to Disneyland. And I was like, when the first time I came here, I was like, oh my god, it's so cool. And then I actually still have this purse. Yeah. I always use it.
That's a Sweet Midnight, right?
I think so.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And speaking of Sweet Midnight, do you also carry indie brands and smaller.
I look for that. Yeah, I mean, she's actually friends with a girl who used to work for me, but somehow I found out about her. I think maybe through her or just from online. I'm not sure. And I met her at Bats Day and talked to her. Like I go to Bats Day to kind of source small independent people that make stuff, and so that's how I got a lot of my brands. Yeah, so I love looking at her stuff. She's always doing new stuff, and she's just so creative and talented. And yeah, I love people like that. And people bring in consignment stuff. They're like, I'm an artist. I make jewelry or whatever, and if it fits in our store and the price point is a reasonable one, then I'm totally interested in that. I mean, I want to promote the scene. I don't want to just leech off of it. I want to bring people in and have people this is the great meeting place that people tell me, and so yeah, it's all part of growing the scene and promoting music. I mean, unfortunately everybody downloads, but promoting those bands and helping them out, letting them play here. I mean, it's a free show, but they get their all ages fans in here to see them, unlike most of the other places or bars,
or 21 and over.
Yeah, so I try to do everything I can to keep things going, because I obviously need to think about customers in the future, having customers, but also I enjoy hearing about new things and hearing new music, and it's all part of being a part of this culture,
Well, goth has become from a subculture to culture because it's all over the world now. I mean, it always has been, but you see it more, especially online. It's just it's crazy how it just evolved to a culture now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Goth and the goth subculture, it is a form of expression.
Totally, yeah. And whether you be a musician like me too, or a writer, I meet people all the time. They're like, political. I love that. I'm political. And they're, they write, they put stuff up online. I have a friend that writes spooky stories and puts it on a blog, and just, everybody's got some bent, that they're heading towards, some, creative aspects of their personality, and it makes my job very interesting. I'm never bored.
And I'm sure you meet eccentric people, different types of people.
We get some tweakers in here. And people come from the courthouse that are trying to pass fake hundreds, but I have my trusty machine that finds.
So, Terri, what clothing brands do you carry?
Would you want to know the top ones or just off the cuff, just whatever I sell?
Whatever you sell.
I was just looking this up for somebody else, and I'll tell you the top 5 brands that I sell, in no particular order, because it changes every month, slightly. But Pleaser shoes, and Trip, and Lip Service, and Killstar are up there, and of course Phantasmagoria / Punk Rave. Those are the top ones, and they all make really quality stuff. Punk Rave is extremely unique. Some of it's kind of on the cosplay side, some of it's Lolita, some of it's just traditional goth, and there's so much detail to it, and it's well made, and it has a lifetime warranty. They stand behind their product. You can, if you lose a button, they'll send you one. You just contact them. Yeah. So and of course our corsets like Timeless Trends and Restyle are the people that I get them from, companies I should say, and they're both really quality too. So I mean, all of that stuff is really popular, and also equal parts. Our big sales are men's and women's, an equal amount. So men find that it's hard to find stuff like this. So when the fact that we have stage wear, we get a lot of rock bands. We outfitted Stevie Nicks' band, not her, but her band came in, the whole band.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we sold them a bunch of stuff. They were super nice and funny guys. It was cool. So I mean, that's just recently. I can rattle off a whole bunch of, and also films, being independent films or big television shows have called me up and tried to get free stuff out of me, which I don't do, by the way. And of course, models and stuff will come and hit me up. That's the other thing too. I do photography, and so I'll get hit up by people. I don't pay them because I can't afford to, but we work it out where I give them the pictures and they use that for their portfolio. And one of the girls I was recently working with, she got an actual paid modeling gig from our, working together. So it was awesome.
It's trade to shoot. I think that's the term.
Yeah, trade. So her.
Oh, she's
Nadia.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, so I was really excited about that. And some of the models, you know, a lot of them are like teachers and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. It's like, I just want to do this, you know. It's fun to play dress up, you know. We do the styling here. We don't have any makeup artists or anything. It's just me and a camera and going outside. And we have a beautiful historic area that we're in. And so we have a 1920s Masonic building that I love to shoot at. So that's one of my main places that I go. It has just beautiful architecture. And I like the outdoor light because it's natural light, whereas in here we got fluorescence and we all look kind of slightly greenish, I think. So that's what I like to do, is go outside. So yeah, I do a lot of things. And I get to express my creativity that way.
Photography is another form of creativity as well. So.
Yeah, I know. There was a time when people said, oh, photography is an art. You're just taking a picture of something.
No.
But it's framing, it's angles.
Composition.
Yeah, exactly. And light, I know, and knowing your camera. And yeah, and obviously what you're, you know, taking a picture of, it has to be, you know, arranged sometimes.
Knowing how to use light is a skill.
Yeah.
It is a skill.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm learning new stuff all the time.
Well, you learn something new every day.
That's
That's
true.
a quote.
And I'm married to a professor, so that's even more true. At home, I'm still learning stuff. So.
Terry, do you also carry vintage brands from the 90s? Like Lip Service or any past?
Well, Lip Service would be a whole episode in itself.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they went out of business, and the owner passed away. He sold the company right before that, and his family got the rights to the name, and they are now producing a new Lip Service line. But it is unfortunately not available for wholesale. So, at this point, I only have old Lip Service stock to sell, and I would love to have the new stock, but currently it's not being offered to wholesale. We'll see how that goes. I would love to move forward with it. It was one brand that I carried the entire time I've been open. So, and Trip is great too, and all these new brands are awesome. So,
do you plan on having any brands that you have seen online, like such as Dracula clothing?
I have that here.
Oh, really?
I have. Oh no, Devil clothing.
Oh, okay.
Devil clothing. Dracula clothing is. I'm not sure that's available wholesale.
Oh, I'm not too sure about it.
Yeah,
but I've seen it online. And
anything
really
that's available wholesale, I definitely would. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of the limit is my budget, you know, because you have to order like thousands of dollars from companies to open a wholesale account. So that's the only limit, you know.
You mentioned you have a website. Do you sell to international customers or only U.S. customers?
Yes. In fact, gosh, when I used to go to the trade shows, there was this gal, and I don't remember her name. She owned a store in Sweden. It was a very popular, like, in a tourist town. It was a very popular Gothic store. And she, like, ran up to me. She goes, oh, my God, you're Terri Kennedy. I'm like, yeah. She goes, I love your store. She'd never been here, but she'd been following me online for years because I started online in like the 90s. I started a little website. And my friend Doc showed me how to code and, you know,
HTML.
And building on it and building on it. And I was just shocked that she'd had her store for like 10 years. And I was like, wow, wherever you are, hi. But yeah, it was like flattering to know that people from another country I'd never met and they had never set foot in my store knew of me because of the internet. So yeah, we do international sales. It isn't that common because the shipping's really expensive.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, but and some countries you have to be cautious of. Like when you get orders from Ethiopia, don't send them. I'm sorry, Ethiopians, but yeah, it's just unfortunate. So, but yeah, I do send a lot of stuff to the UK. I've sent stuff to Japan, to Germany, and Mexico, and well, Puerto Rico's a territory, so. Yeah.
So besides clothes, what other items do you sell at Ipso?
Well, we definitely sell a lot of shoes. That's Pleaser, Demonia is one of our number one brands. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's two. And so it's all, you know, women's, men's shoes, from combat boots to like the over the knee, like creeper type high boots, you know. So a lot of varieties. And of course, all the hair accessories that you can see in this shot, we sell that. A lot of jewelry. Our number one jewelry brand is Alchemy, Gothic, of course. And we sell a lot of accessories that I make, like the veils and the choker things and jewelry, and of course necklaces. And like different things for guys, like the hats, the top hats, the bowler hats, really popular. Women can buy them too, of course. And hosiery has been a mainstay. I like to have a good supply of hosiery and gloves, and I mean, I'm just basically talking about accessories. The leather belts from Ape, that's like, they've been making our leather for us since the beginning. Mm-hmm. She's been around for like 30 plus years. Handmade leather, cut from the hide. So it's real and very good quality. I mean, my employee James has a collar he's had for 20 years. Mm-hmm. He's worn. So we sell all the chokers, wristbands, and belts. And we're talking bondage belts or whatever you want to call them. People were asking me today, why do they call it a bondage belt? I'm like, well, why do they call them Girl Scout cookies? Are they really made from Girl Scouts? No. So just kind of get the connection, you know. I was being sassy. But anyway. So yeah, just anything you might wear. I mean, anything that you might conceive that you might need to go with all these clothes, you know. There's stuff like masks, like the respirators and the goggles, and people never wear the goggles on their face. They put them on their hats or their hair, but yeah, so there's a lot of new accessories that are always coming around. The masquerade masks and metal, yeah, lots of stuff.
You also even cater to, I've seen some, I'm not sure what they're called, but it caters to the black metal crowd, the big bracers.
Oh, yeah, bracers.
Yeah.
Bracers, yeah. They call them bracers or gauntlets. Yeah, we have those in the case as well. And yeah, a lot of like rock kind of guys come here because there's hardly any stores left like you can walk into and try stuff on. And if they want stage wear, they'll buy some of the punk rock pants, those bracers, and maybe some other wristbands or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely, I mean, we kind of cross a lot of genres with some of the items that we sell. But yeah, I mean, we also do literature. We have books, the whole pagan thing. I mean, I should get into that. We've always sold like pagan supplies, like incense and books and whatnot. And we recently have seen an uptick in interest. So we started offering tarot reading and tarot workshops and other kinds of Wicca-related workshops. We did a glamoury workshop. We have a protection workshop coming up, energetic protection workshop coming up. And so those are at night here in the store. And we set up a table and we all sit comfortably together and learn stuff. We do meditations, all sorts of stuff. So the books go along with that, the sage, the oils. I have herbs. I have things that are especially for magical purposes that we use. And so that's a whole other side of things that we offer and we're getting into more because of the interest. Now, I've always had an interest, but it seems like a lot more people now coming in are like, oh, you have tarot readers, cool, I'll come back for one, you know. Then they're not like scared by it like 20 years ago. People were like, what? Satan?
Well, I feel like now people aren't even 5, maybe 10 years ago. People were still a little bit afraid of that, and now it's becoming popular.
Yeah.
But, you know, in a way, it also benefits tarot readers and people that want to learn because it's also bringing up more job opportunities. I mean, for example, bringing them here at Ipso, and also you have lectures as well, correct?
Yeah, we have a gentleman that I've known for over 20 years, James Reitfield. He's a professor at Cal State Fullerton in the history department and religion department. So he lectures on ancient Greco-Roman culture, ancient Egyptian culture. He's done ones on Mayan culture, Middle Eastern culture from a long time ago, and different things. Like he did one on Madame Blavatsky, the Theosophical Society. So that's more like 1920s. But it's all like esoteric, you know, like ancient religions, gods and goddesses, like just really interesting stuff. And we did one on Mary Magdalene. That was really eye-opening, yeah. It's like, oh, the historic Mary Magdalene was not a prostitute. No. She was a wealthy woman, a patroness.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so everybody had the wrong idea, but well, I won't go into why she got smeared that way, but people have now found out the history and the actual facts about her, archaeologically and otherwise, through writings that were left, and they're like, oh, this was a total smear job. Like, the people that win write the history, so we find out a lot of things that are written in history books aren't true, or other books. So it's always interesting to find out what the latest archaeological and scholarly finds are, and he brings that straight in here. And we learn like, oh, the things you learned 10 years ago, well, we found out that's not true. Or we started translating now with Linear B, this ancient language. Oh, now we find out what this means, So we're always open to, spreading new knowledge, basically. So, yeah, this is kind of a place for all, everybody to kind of enjoy all sorts of interesting things, not just goth, but like just esoterica, I call it.
And you also have live bands playing here as well.
Yeah. So we have what is it we're having? My brain. There we go. Yeah, Cliff and Ivy, Australia. Alaska's only goth band. I'm getting tired. And so, yeah, they hit me up about playing, and I'm like, oh, you guys are cool. That'd be awesome. And, we had we tried out the spiritual band, but there were issues with them coming back from Mexico. So we had a little meet and greet with them. But we had Strap on Halo last year. They were awesome. And these are bands that I've been in contact with for years. And it's great to actually have them in here, And they're, like, just as thrilled to play here because they're already down here for, playing or whatever. And so the whole aspect of being able to play for an all-ages audience and a free show, a lot of people have an opportunity they wouldn't otherwise have because a lot of clubs are 21 plus. So, yeah, it's a cool thing. We've done that for years. Every year I have an anniversary event, and so we always have a band. Like 2015 we had Sister Black, and we've had bands like The Last Dance. We've had Voltaire here 3 times.
Oh, wow.
We've had Lycia. We've had Faith in the Muse. We have, like, all these bands.
My favorite.
Human Drama. Yeah, like, I can't even name all the bands. What is her name? Demonica and the Darklings. And who is it? An Extraordinary Gentleman. I mean, there's a list on my website. I can't remember all of them. So last year, I decided, well, it was our 15th anniversary, or 25th? I forget. And so I'm like, I want to do something different. So I had a vaudeville show, and I had a magician, and I had a belly dancer, and I had a girl who hammers nails in her face, Christine Eyes, and Mystic Marlowe was the magician, and Anna Johnson was the dancer, and yeah, they put on a show, and we made this whole vaudeville stage, like right in here with the curtains and stuff. It was really, really fun, and I love vaudeville, and so we had DJ playing like circusy vaudeville music, and it was just really fun. And yeah, I encourage people to dress up. A few people did, like kind of steampunk, and I was dressed steampunk, and all the performers were too, and yeah, it was a really, really fun thing. So I want to keep doing like different things like that for the anniversary, which is in November. So stay tuned, kids. Something wacky is coming your way if you come here. Yeah. So yeah, we just try to, I don't know, this place isn't just, I'm trying to sell you a pair of shoes or a dress or whatever. It's like a whole community, a subculture kind of place where even the undefined subcultures, can be a part of this thing that we're all building together, with music, with fashion, with art, with literature, and political stuff. We love talking about politics in here. I mean, everybody who comes in, we start talking about stuff. Because everybody's affected by all of this.
Yes.
You're not really an island, So it's just interesting to hear people's views. I like to listen to people. I'm not trying to force my views on anybody. I'm just like, wow, I learned something new today, like you were saying earlier. So yeah, that's just, I guess I'm happy. It makes me happy to do that, even though it's not terribly lucrative, but I get by, and the important thing is to be happy. It's not to amass a lot of things or whatever, even though I'm selling things. I am in commerce, so I am a capitalist, but I'm also a socialist, so like the two have to work together. But that's as far as I'll go into politics. But yeah, it's cool that we can talk about this, Yeah. So.
Well, with politics, you have to be very open-minded. I feel like, well, nowadays it's not really like that. Like
It's
either
hard.
You're right, you're wrong. So, but we won't get into that. But
we're in California though, so
Yeah.
I think most people that come in, I don't have to worry about them, getting mad. It's not all my friends are, the same political affiliation that I am, and that's great. I don't want to be surrounded by an echo chamber. I want to learn stuff. I want to hear people's opinions. Why do you believe in this? And that's important because, see, that breaks down barriers. Mm-hmm. I might have an opinion, and I've had an opinion about stuff, and then somebody tells me their side or their personal anecdote, and I'm like, oh, gee, I've been a dumbass this whole time. That's what it's really like, Mm-hmm. Like, I had a husband that was an immigrant, and I had to help him go through the whole immigration process and pay for all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, now I understand why people are so mad, because it takes so long, and there's so many people waiting. And, so I can really feel their pain. Yeah. So, just talking to people, like, it helps you learn stuff and become more tolerant. And
it also... It makes you wiser.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Definitely. I learn something new every day. That's how life is.
Are you an air sign, by the way?
Yes.
I knew it.
My husband, too. We're both air signs. I'm a Libra.
Oh, you're a Libra? Mm-hmm. Aquarius?
Oh, cool. My husband's an Aquarius. I love really? Aquarius. Yeah. I get along great with them.
We're eccentric.
Yeah. And we like to learn stuff. And also we like our quiet alone time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what I need to recharge and, like, have the cats piled on me,
Yes, definitely. Sometimes I need time away from people. And one of my places to do that is to go out in the mountains or go on nature just so I can have my free time. And music. And speaking of music, you had a band before, right?
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh. Yes, I did. I've been in more than 20 bands, I would say. I don't know. And I've been on more than 30 CDs. I started out as a punk singer. I was in bands like HKA, which stands for Hobo Kelly's Army, and a band called Humane Restraint, which was like a Crass kind of band, like Crass and Flex Pig Indians. I was all into punk in the early 80s. And then this thing called goth came along, and I was really into Joy Division. There were some bands that are traditional goth that I wasn't as into, but I really liked Susie, of course, and Exmal Deutschland, and like a lot of bands like that, especially bands with girls. Like, I'm really into that. And of course I love Cocteau Twins. And Dead Can Dance.
Yes.
And from very early time, I was a little kid singing in a Catholic church choir and stuff at Mass, and the Latin Mass really spoke to me. I like language. I'm not very good with languages, but I like hearing them and learn, and like at least I can learn them phonetically. So I learned like all these songs in Latin when I was a kid, and that I have a 5-octave range. So I was really interested in doing the really operatic stuff, but I never had proper training. My parents were kind of old school, and they didn't want me to become involved with musicians because they're all on drugs. So they've passed, so they won't be calling me up and yelling at me. But yes, the whole music thing I kind of had to do behind my parents' back because they were very strict. So I started getting in punk bands, and I was in more than one band at a time and doing all this stuff, writing. I was mostly a singer. I tried to play guitar, and I'm really bad at it, for the record. But I still have my BC Rich, and it's a Mockingbird. It's really awesome. And so, I tried playing drums. For a summer, I was a drummer, I just tried all these different things. And because punk rock was something where you could be crap, but people still wanted to play with you because they were crap too, and you all became better by working together. And it was a thing also where, for the first time, I'd walk in a music store and people would be like, oh, you're here to buy a guitar for your boyfriend? No, I want it for me. And punk, it was like girls were out there doing it, Alice Bag, Patricia Morrison, you were talking about her, and I love her. I saw her play with the several bands, so it was really amazing.
Like the Gun Club.
Yeah, I saw her with Gun Club, yeah. They were live, they were terrible, but it was cool seeing women on stage. I enjoyed it. And Lydia Lunch, I really loved her. And Lena Lovitch, I saw her as well in my formative time. But one of the bands that really spoke to me early on was in '83. I saw The Birthday Party, and that changed my life. We went backstage. We met Lydia Lunch, who also performed that night, and she was like, I idolized her. And it was just really crazy. I'm like, oh, this is a different kind of music. I don't know what it is. They were very unique. And so that just further compelled me, you know.
And influenced you to...
Well, in a way, I mean, at that point, it influenced me to not do what everybody else was doing and try to really find my own individuality. Mm-hmm. And so combining the kind of operatic singing and Gothic rock, you know, I think was somewhat unique, you know. Not everybody appreciated it, but that's what I do. And then, you know, I spent a good long time. The band was called Stone 588, and we were around for, I think, 17 years and put out 3 CDs. And, yeah, you know, we toured a little bit. We played open for a lot of bands. We opened for some of Roz's bands, a lot of bands. Played a lot with The Last Dance and The Prophetess. It was cool. And, but, you know, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for goth at that point because it was like, we started in the late 90s, and through most of the 90s, like, it was hard to find venues for live music. Mm-hmm. But we did get to play the Roxy and like some other bands or places on the Sunset Strip, and I got to play a lot with a lot of different kinds of bands, so it was cool. And I made some really lasting friendships in that band too. And I went on to do some other bands. The last one I was in was Strict 9 Effects with Eileen, who had played with me in Stone 588. And so, yeah, I recently, due to health reasons, I had to kind of taper back a lot of the projects I was involved in because I was just too much. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not doing music right now, but I will consider it in the future. I have people like bugging me right now to do music, several people. So I won't rule it out in the future, but it's just right now that you home. Mm-hmm. So 2 things together, you know. Yeah, so I don't know what to say about that, but yeah, things are different now, I'll tell you that. I can tell you a lot of things are way different. I mean, the whole political spectrum has moved to the right. Mm-hmm. Even the left has moved right, you know? So things that weren't controversial now are, you know, when it used to be just a given, you know? I mean, Nixon wasn't that conservative compared to what we have now.
Yeah.
I remember that stuff. I was a really big fan of All the President's Men. In 5th grade, I read that book because that's when the Watergate scandal happened, and that just, blew my mind. And I love it, you know, and I became totally into politics at that point in 5th grade. My friend and I wrote a little story. It was mirroring All the President's Men, but it starred all of our classmates as the different characters in the book. It was funny. But yeah, I mean, I just find so many things interesting. It's hard to get one thing done because I'm constantly going, oh, I could do this, I could do that. But I'm sure you know what that's like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. Like, I have so many projects to work on because there's newer projects I want to work on. But that's why I like to organize what I'm going to do for the month, for example, because if I don't, it's going to be like this. It's going to be all over the place, so I wouldn't never finish. So.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm a list maker. So what do you do besides the vlog?
Well,
I'm interviewing you. I'm curious.
Well, I used to work in office jobs, so
I've done that too.
Yeah, so a lot of vlogging and a lot of being a content creator, because that's what it's being called now.
Yeah.
So
sweet.
So my channel is Victoria Fashion, as we know, and it's part of myself and my boyfriend Daniel, and we like to contribute to the online goth community because, or even just goth in general, because I mean, to me, goth has always been a home for me. I always felt different. I didn't feel the same like other kids.
And Halloween was your favorite holiday too?
Actually, Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, winter. I do love Halloween, but I've always been a winter.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a winter-born child, so I've always loved the snow. I love dark, the moon, the night, snow, and
fog.
Yes,
I love fog.
Yes. It's
unless you're driving in it.
Oh no! That's I don't like fog or the rain when it comes down to driving.
Yeah.
No.
And sneaking to graveyards at night. I used to do a lot of that.
It was much easier
Not
back
just
then.
with boys either. Just for fun.
Yeah, but now I feel like I can't even experience that because so much security and cameras and
Yeah, that's true. That's the downside. And our privacy is impinged upon by Facebook, for instance, and other social media. Because now, like, whenever we check in at the restaurant, people know where we're at.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird in a way, you know?
Yeah, my dad is like, don't be putting stuff on Facebook. He tells me things like that.
Because a robber can come to your house and rip you off.
Yes, he's like that. So
well, my house is so cluttered, I would think, so what if they did? I have nothing of value. Except my cats. And my husband, of course. But, yeah, I mean, this world is really just so fascinating how things have changed so rapidly. I mean, the size of cell phones, they had the bricks in the 80s, and now they're, like, super tiny. Yeah, technology is fascinating. And those, like, Elon Musk, who does the Tesla, his batteries are powering all sorts of things in countries where they have no power, or they're very poor. And I'm like, wow, that guy could change the world. You know?
Yeah, I mean, now there's automated.
The driverless car?
Yeah.
Like, that stuff's fascinating to me. I don't even understand how it works. But, yeah, it's fascinating stuff. I was talking to a guy on the way back from the Ghost show in Arizona, and he's like 19 or 20, and he's making six figures because his specialty in science was, light waves. As, like, everything you can use light waves for. Like, I know about surgery, but there's all sorts of, like, other applications, military and industrial, that they use it for now. And it's like, wow. Oh, that was fascinating.
Yeah, just technology is just growing rapidly. I mean, a phone last year was like,
right?
Like 5 years ago. Yeah, out of date, real quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like art. I love makeup. I love fashion, and I felt like when I discovered the goth subculture, it became my home, and I felt like it was a freedom for me to be who I wanted to be, and no one can tell me what to do. And it was a struggle because I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm one of those kids that comes from a strict household that if I were to buy something from a store, like for example, if I were to buy something here, before my mom would throw it away, or she would throw and burn my tarot cards. So it's like I come from that generation. So
totally. I experienced that too.
Yeah. So I worked hard for it, but now what I'm trying to do is contribute to the goth scene with, to be creative and to be whoever you want to be.
And pass this wonderful information on to other people.
Yes,
and share. Yeah.
Exactly. There's so much knowledge out there in the goth community, and I feel like a lot of the baby bats out there, what we call them, they're either too shy, they can't go to clubs, there's hardly no clubs, there's no interaction no more. There should be
Yeah,
more.
people are isolated a lot. I mean, the internet is great for meeting people, but you don't know if the person on the other end is really being themselves and genuine too, But yeah, getting out to clubs, and you actually meet people and you can actually talk, you know. Although I think I'm more eloquent online, where I can type and think of the words and look things up.
Yeah, same here.
But, it's like, it's still important to have that connection, We don't want to be isolated.
I feel that goth is really fun. Like, going to clubs when you're, like, at a young age, dressing up, coming here to Ipso Facto, for example, planning out your gear, and then going out to the clubs and being yourself and meeting people, that's fun.
Yeah, I've dressed people for their first trip to Barcin, like, so many times. They're, like, so excited. What should I wear, And I'm like, oh, well, whatever obviously flatters you, what you like, and, they do have a sort of a dress code. It's not super strict, but, yeah, it's something, maybe there are people that have been out of the scene because they had kids, and now they're like, oh, well, nothing fits anymore. I need to buy some clothes because our kids are old enough we can go out to clubs again. I get that a lot, too.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great. And we have that we still have clubs. I mean, like, Chamber's been going on forever, And, of course, like, Release the Bats and Sinister, they've all been around super long time. So it's good that people, like, from out of town, too, they come here and they're like, oh, yeah, I have to hit here and Sinister, and Disneyland.
Oh, speaking of Disneyland, Bats Day is coming up.
Yeah. Was it May 4th?
Yes, May 4th, that weekend, the first week of May. The first weekend of May.
Yeah.
Do you sell at Bats Day?
I don't have a booth. I go to the black market, I pass out flyers, and I tend to meet up with some of my suppliers there and pick up stuff for the store. But yeah, because I'm basically me and one other person here. So I can't have the store open on a Saturday and be there like all day. I couldn't do it.
Oh, okay. Makes
But
sense.
I've never vended there. I just pretty much figured, people kind of know that we're 5 miles from Disneyland and from that hotel specifically 5 miles. So I pass out like little maps with the flyer on the flyer that tell people how to get here from there. And we get a lot of business that weekend. So, I mean, it's about as much as I can handle. So, but
yeah, because your experience, like people even like from different states, different countries.
Yes. Yeah, we had Australians yesterday.
Really?
Yep, they were really cool, and yeah, every week somebody from a different place. Yeah,
and it's almost around the corner as well. So
yeah, because they all go to Disneyland, so it's great being 5 miles from Disneyland and straight up the street. You can find us. Yeah.
Yeah, and then people have their Disney passes now, and they could just come here and do their shopping.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's always a lot of fun. I like going to the black market and hanging out and talking to people and, finding new stuff for my store, basically. So it's like a little mini trade show for me. There's just so much going on. I mean, what is the Gothic festival?
It already passed.
Oh, okay. How was that?
I wanted to go, but what happened was... No. It was fun last year I went.
Yeah,
the problem was I didn't go because the storm was that day.
Oh, yeah, it was really bad.
And driving from where I live in San Fernando Valley to down here, it was like, forget it. The freeways had like 2 or 3 inches of rain.
Oh yeah, it was dangerous. I mean, you could hydroplane and hit streets that were just flooded. Yeah, we had that here.
And I didn't want to risk that to my car.
Yeah, because California, we never get rain, and when we do, it doesn't know where to go. Yeah. So it just like gets
not only
dangerous.
that, people go crazy with the rain. Yeah.
Or they drive too fast.
Oh yeah. Or
if you have bad brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's too bad. I wanted to go to that too. Last year's was totally off the hook. I had such a great time. I saw you there and you were like totally done up, so great.
Really?
I'm like, that girl just really does a great job with her makeup. I gotta talk to her more. That was like the first time I remember like talking to you a little bit, So yeah, that was cool.
It was cool. Who played? Oh, Two Witches played.
Yeah, first time in the U.S. That was awesome, and all the other bands,
Gorgonas,
yeah, they played. Yeah, it was cool.
I hope there's more festivals like that more often.
Yeah.
Well, Terri, I think that's a wrap.
I think we talked about everything.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you would like to add to?
Well, obviously I have to plug my website, www.ipso-facto.com. The store is located in Fullerton, California. We're 26 miles south of LA. So it's pretty reasonably close to Riverside, San Diego counties, and LA, if you ever come to Fullerton. And we have a train station here too, so there's no excuse. If you don't have a car, take the train. It stops like 2 blocks from my store. And of course, I just love to meet people, so come on in and we'll have a chat about something interesting. And thanks for watching.
All right. Okay, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.